Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Gwent, and today we're playing more of the Entrenched seasonal event, which is an alternate game mode in which every time we play a unit, it gets resilience. And this time we're using a bunch of the new cards that are much more powerful than usual in this event. So let's go take a look at the deck. So today we'll be playing a Syndicate Hidden Cache Tide Cloaks deck that is built around the new scenario, In Search of Forgotten Treasures. And this is an amazing card because, most notably, when we get up to a certain number of coins at the end of our turn, we will automatically get back up to our maximum number of coins. So it starts out at Hoard 8, which means if we have one coin that we've not yet earned, then we can get that last little coin, a little bit of a refund at the end of our turn. However, because we have our leader ability, Hidden Cache, which reduces the value of all hoards by 2, that means that this is actually going to turn into a Hoard 6 ability, which means that if we finish our turn with 6 coins, we're going to get back up to 9 every turn, so it is functionally 3 free coins every turn. And so if we have a lot of coin generation in addition to that, so that we can pretty much guarantee we're getting up to 6 coins at the end of every turn, then we can just go absolutely crazy with all of our coin spenders. Not to mention, we also get Doadrick, who, after using her ability, means we can infuse an enemy unit to take damage whenever we receive a coin, and because we're going to have tons and tons of coin generation, that card that we give the infusion to is going to get absolutely annihilated, and if we have even more coin generation, then we can continue to use that on even more units. So that's the big idea, and it means that, of course, we have a bunch of coin generation to get us started and get up to whatever our threshold might be. Imke is worth 2 coins per turn, so she's amazing for that purpose. We also have things like the Tax Collector, which is basically just a slightly weaker Imke, and we have the Pearl Diver. Don't like it quite as much because since all of our units are getting resilience, that means that, 6 coins here, it's a big chunk, but over the course of a long match, obviously, over the course of 2 rounds, Tax Collector is very likely to get more than 6 coins. Imke, certainly way more than that. But in addition to that, perhaps most significantly, we have the Treasure Huntress, who will give us 3 coins when we play her, but with her ability, can turn even more units into coin generators. And so that means that you can have every card on the board generate 1 coin per turn, and at that point, it is very easy to get up to that threshold for In Search of Forgotten Treasures, and guarantee that every single turn you will get a full coin refund, and so that means you can just go crazy with spending. So that's the coin generation side of the equation. But in terms of spending, we've already seen Doadrick, but there are other options as well, like the Bare Knuckle Brawler, which is just 1 coin equals 1 damage. We have also the Coerced Blacksmith, which means 1 coin equals 1 boost, and in this case, that's useful for if you have some important cards that say have given or received a lot of those infusions, then you obviously want to make sure that that card stays alive, so this is definitely a useful way to make that happen. And then we also have Junior, who we do not have Devotion, notably, so ideally you're waiting to play him until your opponent has a boosted unit, and then you can deal 6 damage to it, but then you use something like the Bare Knuckle Brawler to weaken some of their cards down to 3 power, and then you use Junior's ability to, when they're at 3 or lower power, just destroy it altogether. Or if your opponent has a really highly boosted card, then maybe the 6 damage is not enough to destroy it, but it is enough to get it into that 3 power removal range for Junior. So that's another spender for us. And outside of that, it's cards that, well, get boosted when we generate coins, like Bincy, who, in this deck, I don't even know what the theoretical ceiling is for her, but it is astronomical how many boosts you can get on her. She is insane. And not far behind are the Townsfolk, because Townsfolk are a slightly weaker version of Bincy, because rather than getting boosted by the amount of coins you receive, it's just boosted by 1 every time you receive a coin, regardless of the number. So if, for example, you're getting boosted by, if you're getting 5 coins in 1 burst, then Bincy gets the 5 points, Townsfolk only gets 1, but so much of her coin generation is 1 instance of coin generation spread out across a bunch of different sources, which means Townsfolk is functionally the same as Bincy, so it is still incredibly powerful as well. So then we also have Kalkstein, who is another spender, but of a different variety. Purification means we can get rid of our opponent's resilience, so if you have him in round 1, ideally, and you have a lot of coins to spare near the end of the round, you use him as one of your last cards and just spend like crazy and purify all of your opponent's cards that are important, or maybe just every single unit. And that means they have basically nothing carrying over into round 2, so you have what is more or less an automatic win in round 2. And then we also have Doadrick plus Snowdrop for consistency, because that means we can draw cards and put cards back into our deck every turn to fine-tune our hand if we don't like what we see. And we also have Saul, who gets boosted based on how many coins we have at the end of our turn, and again, assuming that we have a whole bunch of coins, especially if we've already played our scenario, we are very likely to be at 9 coins every turn, then he's a really easy to set up engine. And that's just about it. The one exception being that it's a little bit wonky, but because the Gadron that we get from our scenario gets spawned in from the scenario, it means she does not have resilience, which is obviously unfortunate in this event. However, what we can do is, if we've used her a lot in the round, already set up a lot of those infuse abilities on our opponents, and it feels like, we have enough spenders to spend the rest of our coins doing other things like boost or deal damage, then why not use a decoy on Gadron, put her back into our deck. She does not have Doomed, so we can put her back into our deck with no additional setup necessary, and if we draw into her and play her, then that means she'll get resilience then, and so that gives us an amazingly powerful card for 3 separate rounds. In that case, if you summon her in with your scenario turn 1, and also decoy her turn 1, then play her, or rather, round 1, and then in round 2, play her from your hand, then that means you have her in round 2, and the resilience will carry her over into round 3, which is just incredibly valuable. So obviously it's a little bit of a mixed bag, just because you don't necessarily know what you're going to get in return for a decoy, but chances are, if you don't have Gadron on the board, then there are other weak cards that you'll be able to swap out if you have, for example, more spenders than you need, and so worst comes to worst, you end up doing something like that. But there's a look at the deck, and like I said, it is all about generating a ridiculous amount of coins, and so much so that you can spend quite possibly every single coin that you have every single turn, which is just ridiculous value. So let's go see it in action. Alright, so going up against Nilfgaard here, and we'll go first. And we don't have our scenario here, but we do have Matta, which can, of course, give us our scenario. So that's good. And outside of that, in terms of balancing coin generators with coin spenders, we have a fair bit in the way of spenders here. Not nearly as much in the way of generators, so I think we'd perhaps like to get rid of one of you. And as much as I like the Townsfolk, I mean, I guess we could get rid of Offense instead, but doubling down on the Townsfolk, yeah, we can still make it work. As long as we get, more coin generators, and we did not get them, we can, of course, potentially switch some things out using Doadrick, and that would be a way to get rid of a spender or get rid of one of these Townsfolk potentially and replace them with a coin generator. So we cannot use Matta on our first turn, as our opponent's hand is full. So we might even use Doadrick. We don't control an agent, so we will not have Zeal anyway. So yeah, I think we do this. I think we do that. Now also, Tax Collector, obviously, earlier you play that the better, but, we might be able to get something like Imke, which is just a better version of Tax Collector through Doadrick. Okay, they're going with an immediate leader ability, which suggests this might be a Ren-free deck, because normally if you're going... Okay, I mean, that's unfortunate. It's not the end of the world, but there goes our hand fine-tuning. So it's either Matta or it's get the Tax Collector down. I guess we'll go Tax Collector here, so we get one more turn of the coin generation before we start playing our scenario. So yeah, normally you would wait to play Double Cross until your opponent has presumably started off with some of their weaker cards, so you can have a higher chance of getting the big stuff. Which is why I suspect they may be replacing that leader ability with Renfree's ability soon. Okay, now we Matta. So there's our scenario. There's a non-zero chance this is a Sahil deck, because Mage Infiltrator is 1 power unit. This is 1 power unit as well. Normally you'd wait to play Mage Infiltrator until you can destroy something, so she goes back on their side, but they might deliberately be trying to have 2 weak units here. So that's something we may see very soon. No, it's a crossbow one, which is a different source of damage and does get rid of that tax collector, unfortunately. And as we were saying, we were very much lacking when it came to the coin generation, and in fact, the other thing that we are quite lacking would be Tidecloaks to trigger that scenario. We just have Fence and Flyndra's crew. We don't want to place Flyndra's crew in round 1. So this may even turn into a round in which we keep things quite short, so that we can, obviously we want to play the scenario early, but we can get little to no value out of it in this round if we can't. I mean, Chapter 2 is not crucially important. Chapter 1 is the really big one. But I suppose that means we ought to go... We'll do Townsfolk. Obviously, we'll do this, and we'll do this. And that will get us up to our maximum coinage. And we wanted to make sure that we did that so that we at least could reach 7 coins for Flyndra's crew to make that a little bit stronger. And it does mean that if we want to play slightly further with something like Bare Knuckle Brawler, we can throw this down and get a lot of value out of that. Okay, yeah, they have a lot of damage. That is certainly the most consistent thing we are seeing here. They have passed us, so we'd, you know, unfortunately, they'd win on even. It's the card total is very, very different in this event because everyone has the resilience, so not that concerned about that. They'll lose the armor on this crossbowman, so they'll lose the barricade ability going into the next round. Anyway, this will still work, but, you know, we could Bare Knuckle Brawler. That'd be another way to get rid of this armor and soften up some of them a bit. I suppose we can go that route. So we want to at least do it until we get rid of that armor there, so that this is shut down. And we'll leave it like that for the time being, because of course the coins can carry over. We'll lose 50% of them in between rounds, but yeah, and I suspected they're gonna do more of this. Okay, so I still don't think this is a winning situation for us. I think we need this round to end, and need this round to end quickly, because we were planning to build around this, but I underestimated, or overestimated, really, the amount of Tidecloaks we had when we, in truth, only had 2. So I suppose maybe that was going to happen with the assistance of Doadrick, that we'd get more, but he got locked immediately, so we need more of them in order to enable this. So they'll pass as well, of course. Short round 1, which is odd in this event. So you tend to see round 1 go particularly long, but again, we certainly had reason to cut this one short. And, oh my goodness. Please give us an actual Tidecloak, or Vivaldi Bank to give us a Tidecloak. Okay, now we can make this work. We have 1 Tidecloak in hand, or 1 more Tidecloak in hand. We are capable of getting Flyndra's crew to get 1 more, remove 1 more charge as well. So we're more willing to play this in round 2 than we were in round 1. So this is now a realistic option, whereas it previously very much was not. So we also have more coin generators, which was something we were a little bit lacking before. So we could potentially tax collector first here, and I think we probably do want to do that, to be honest. We go this route, and is there any reason not to immediately hit in cash? I mean, technically, we'd get 1 more point on this Townsfolk if we were to wait for it, but this one is going to be pretty vulnerable at just 2 points after we get the boost from this, whereas 3 points might get it out of removal range. Say, even Alba Spearman, not a very common card, but have a lot of soldiers. I suppose even 3, if they have another Spearman, would still be enough, so maybe that's not a big enough difference maker to warrant using hidden cash just yet. Okay, Duchess's Informants. I'm curious to see. Well, actually, yeah, it's either Townsfolk or it's Tax Collector. They go with the Townsfolk, and they did already have a Tax Collector, so yeah, they have a set of synergy going here. So that is not a sight we like to see. We can use our scenario, though, and I think we probably will go that route here, and in which case we will probably use Hidden Cache and immediately use this ability here from Cadron. So we need 7. Right. We weren't quite there yet. Well, that hurts. Don't love that Yenvo. We can, however, with another Tide Cloak, get up to Chapter 1, which would be nice. We actually would over-generate slightly with the Treasure Huntress, so perhaps we could even make the case for getting our other townsfolk down here first. Don't love playing them both in the same row, but at the same time, I also don't love stacking everyone in the range row either. And actually, we could have made a very strong case for using Junior to destroy you on that turn. Probably should have. I just did not even consider that. This is now going to be a 7. I mean, we can still damage you with Junior and drop you down to a 1. Which may still be worth doing. Some could follow up with our Fee ability there. However, next Pirate we get out, or next Tide Cloak we get out more specifically, means we're triggering Chapter 1, which we have not actually done yet. So that would be nice. Because that is a more sustained way of generating coins. So I think we really should go probably Flyndr's Crew or Treasure Huntress and just get as many coin generators out here as possible. So we can go down to 6 coins and still finish our turn with 9. Gonna give it to our biggest unit, so it's hard to remove this. So now we have 1 coin generation, 2 coin generation. Another townsfolk here, or rather another Duchess Informant to create a tax collector this time. Okay, and now is the turn where we go Junior, 6 damage, and now destroy you. Reason why we waited was because now, even though we're at 6 coins, we can get back up to our maximum here, and we could even destroy you. It's not a terrible idea. Gonna get 2 coins at the end of our turn, which means we can spend slightly more and still get back up to 9 at the end of our turn, but unfortunately we can only spend in increments of 3 at the moment, which is not what we're looking for. So I think we might need to end our turn there. Okay, they're gonna lock. Really, Junior. I mean, arguably Townsfolk was more important, especially with the infusion. It's mostly the deploy plus that first fee that we were going for there. Because now they can still benefit a little bit from the coin spending with the Brawler. But now I think if we go Flyndr's Crew, we damage their highest card by 9. So we'll have 9 coins, which means... what is that? It's you. It's not super helpful. But we would like Flyndr's Crew. Because we have 3 of them. And that means that we now have our scenario down to 3 as the threshold. So we can add a bunch of additional rounds of this ability here, and we kind of want to spread it across additional people. I think we have enough. We can quite literally spend all of our coins here and still get back up to 9, because we are generating 1 coin here, 2 coins here for a total of 3, 2 more coins here for a total of 5, and we need to get up to only 3 is sufficient to trigger the Chapter 2 component of this ability. So I want to put those infusions on bigger cards so they're harder to remove, but at the same time don't want to put them all on the same card like this Townsfolk and just make it super obvious that this is the card they need to destroy. Although that's why I was saying this is probably the one they should have locked. Okay, it's Mushy Truffle. It's going to be, what, another one of these illusionists, right? To get what? Well, they go for a tax collector, actually. So yeah, they are getting a decent number of coins to power this up. We don't have much to shut you down. So it would have had to have been Junior, and you have since destroyed him. But we could go Vivaldi Bank. Technically, we should spend coins first if we're going to do that, though, because we would over-generate. So why don't we just do... we don't have a great recipient for this. You already have 2. Don't really want to put it on a 1 point. Touches Informant, and I do want to make sure that we still have it on a card that has the resilience. So, here's the thing. Bincy is going to get absolutely humongous. She is row locked to the range row, which means if they have any reset abilities, then that's going to hurt us, but we do still have, fortunately, at least one Townsfolk here that's highly boosted. We actually no longer have room for this fence, which is, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. At this point, they might consider passing, because we have a pretty huge lead, unless they have a way to shut this stuff down with, like, a Yurden or something like that, then I don't know if they're going to be able to catch us. Even then, we can still boost up Bincy so quickly. Yeah, they will pass here. That means we'll win round 2 on even cards, and we will, I believe, perhaps have a little more resilience than they will, and most importantly, the infusions will continue to persist in between rounds, so we will still have tons of coin generation. That's how we put them on the cards that still have resilience. Okay, so we still have a coin spender with Treasure Huntress, although at this point we probably have more coin generation than we realistically need. So that means Coerced Blacksmith is nice to give us a different way to spend our coins. Probably don't need Pearl Diver here. Snowdrop is worth some coins, but if anything, we might want to have a different kind of spender. Or Decoy, could use that to get rid of Junior, because he's kind of doing nothing here, or get rid of Duchess's Informants. Or we can maybe even replay Junior with Decoy. So one fence is not bad. 2 fences is probably overkill. 2 Treasure Huntresses at this point, after we've already used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 infusions from her, is almost certainly overkill. But, alas, we probably will proceed to play her first nonetheless, because In Search of Forgotten Treasures gives us a huge chunk of coins, which is good for boosting up Bincy, because she doesn't care if it's individual sources of boost or if it's one big boost, but the Townsfolk does care. So it only gets boosted by 1, regardless of how many coins we're receiving from one instance of coin generation. So we want to split up our coin generation across as many different instances as possible. As many different units as possible, basically, is what I'm getting at. So that will make you get boosted more quickly. So we can still go with 1 more of these, I think, and still get up to 9. Because now we no longer have all the Flyndr's crew. Only the initial one had resilience because the other ones got spawned in. So that means our horde threshold is 5. Not quite as low as it once was, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, yeah, we have enough coin generation that we are automatically getting up to this threshold every turn. We can spend every single coin. So that's worth noting, because that means we can now go with the Blacksmith. I think this is the right time to play him because we can proceed to spend... Oh, but technically we overgenerated ever so slightly, but we can only spend in increments of 3, so not that it really matters. We can now proceed to boost up with every single coin that we have, and so I'm deliberately going to focus on the cards that have those infused abilities, and the ones that are not currently as highly boosted. I might decoy you, so I'm deliberately not going to boost you. And we still have our leader ability as well, so you know what? We'll do this. And then we'll do some more boosts. Because we can. Still get up to 9, as we were saying. And this is good run that they stole from us. Now, they have some coins and still some decent coin generation at that. So that is going to be a little bit dangerous. We're just hoping we can get cards big enough that they're not going to have enough time to really benefit from that. Okay, and it's Vrigith instead. Oh, that's kind of scary. Additional tax collectors. So now, assuming they play good run on their next turn, they will have a ton of setup for her. Probably still not enough to destroy a Bincy or a Townsfolk here, but they will likely go after something like a Coerced Blacksmith, because this is weak but has a lot of value that we give to other cards as our primary spender at the moment. I think we might Decoy on this turn on Junior and see what we get, in case it's a card that needs a little bit of time to set things up. So let's dump you. Okay, it is a different spender, which at the moment, it's not a huge deal, because both these guys are 1 point per turn, but I think we will certainly boost you up, possibly even with all these coins, at least with a lot of them. We should probably try to be a little more Yurden-proof, though, just in case. What this does is it means that if they do target one of our spenders with Good Run, which I think they're about to do, potentially multiple of our spenders with Good Run, then we at least have you boosted up. Yeah, they're going after you. We at least have you boosted up such that I don't think will get destroyed immediately. You'll get damaged by a fair bit, but you're going to get damaged by 1, 2, 3, 4 every turn, and we can boost you by 9 every turn if we want to, so we should still be able to outpace them. Let's go Snowdrop here and potentially replace the fence. We will see. It's a decent finisher, the fence, so I'm not against it, but we'll see what our alternatives are. So Imke obviously would be amazing if we had gotten her earlier on. We've plenty of coin generation now, though, so she's pretty much overkill, and for that reason we actually would prefer the fence still, I think. So thank you, Snowdrop, but that'll be all. Let us continue to boost you, I think. And other potentially valuable cards to us. We can, once again, spend every single coin that we have. That is an option. We should also try not to be Yurdenable, or rather, not be Igniable. Ducal Guard, second to last play. That's not what they want to do. Probably going to use more Good Run here. And still, the damage is just not going to add up quickly enough for them, I don't think. We can use the fence to spend these coins, which, I mean, I suppose. We'll pay the tribute. And then we can boost or we can damage. You know what? We'll give you a little bit of boost just so that 1, 2, 3, 4 you'll live, and then spend the rest of our coins to deal damage. Because why not? So there you have it, a short round 3. But even with that, all of the coin infusions that we have, worth a ton of points here. Even if they steal many of our coin generators and some of our spenders even. Okay, but what is their finisher? So we've not yet seen it. Oniro into what? Oh, no. Illusionist is definitely not going to be enough. They needed to have, I mean, some kind of Geralt, and even then, I still don't think it would be sufficient. They'll spend their coins, but we'll hold on for the win. Alright, so going up against Scoia'tael here, and we'll go first. Okay, so notably no scenario here, although we do, of course, have Matta, which will give us our scenario, and we also have Snowdrop that can help us fine-tune our hand further. We have Decoy, which could help us replay Good's Run in a later round, so we probably do hold on to that in this circumstances. We are likely to get our scenario out. And I'm thinking we probably dump a Pearl Diver. Treasure Huntress is probably preferable. And having one fence is not bad. Having two fences is probably overkill. It's a decent finisher. And Vivaldi Bank gives us more ways to potentially get a big card here. So do we have a coin spenders, actually? A little bit lacking in that regard. Maybe we'll use Vivaldi Bank to get one of those. I suppose we make that work, but that is potentially the one thing that we are a little bit lacking of at the moment. So we can't use Matta turn 1 because they have a full hand. So why don't we begin with a coin generator of some variety? Well, actually, I mean, I suppose we can start with Treasure Huntress. Could. But I'd rather play that when we have someone we can immediately give the status to, the infusion. So perhaps we'll actually get... You might call it greedy, but go Townsfolk first. This will likely, if it survives this turn, become one of, if not our biggest, point-scoring engines in this round. So I would not be terribly surprised if they go after it aggressively here. But of course, assuming we do get our scenario out soon, then that will become our primary win condition for this round, and that's mostly built around damage, not so much the boosts. Although if we have this on the board, then we'll get a little bit of both, which would be great. Alright, so they're going Forest here, and they did a lot of the hand boosting with their leader ability. They used all those charges, so they have some really highly boosted stuff in their hand here. And we would probably expect to see an Aglace or a Sheldon as their primary recipient of those hand boosts, but we shall see. I think next we're going to go Matta to get that scenario into our hand as quickly as possible. And the reason I wanted to do Townsfolk turn 1 was because if we really wanted to use leader ability now or use stratagem now, we can get a small benefit out of that. We perhaps still like to wait to do that until we have some people who can immediately spend those coins, but we shall see. Here is, of course, our scenario now. Okay, Simlas actually was the recipient of a lot of those boosts. And it's Bountiful Harvest for, well, more hand boosting, and of course, more units as well, but we shall see what they get with the units, because some of them could have damage enough to potentially remove the Townsfolk. Doublethon to Sentry, range row means boost a second Doublethon to Sentry. Okay, so that would suggest they probably have some movement engines in their hand. It might have just been such that that was going to put the boost on their preferable boost recipient, but seems like we should probably read into that at least a little bit. So now let's not delay any further. Let's go with our leader ability here. Or rather, with our strategy, our scenario here. Gudrun needs to be up to 7 coins before she can use her ability. So we should go here and go here. Now we can immediately spend those coins if we'd like. It would drop us down to 5, right? Which is not enough for our scenario to trigger. But perhaps, yeah, we'll hold off one more turn before we do it. We want to probably get a Treasure Huntress on the board. Then it'll really start to kick off. Oh, also, we just haven't played enough people for this. We need to be on Chapter 1 anyway, so yeah, was it going to be a non-factor? Can we really, of course, want people to survive one more turn? So we had a way to get Gudrun back into our deck, but that is only if she stays on the board. From our graveyard, not really anything we can do there. We can, of course, still benefit from Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 as well, but Gudrun is very much the centerpiece of the scenario, so that's going to be pretty painful. We'll use Saul as maybe our primary, well, and Townsfolk. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. We'll have plenty of coins to use here. Now, technically, I was going to use her to spend some coins, Gudrun, that is, so we weren't going to overgenerate here, because we are. That's overgenerate at least a bit. But let us put some coin generation on, we'll go Matta, just so that we don't have everyone, or all of our most valuable stuff on one card, like Townsfolk, and make this just an even more obvious card that they should go after. So now, that means we triggered Chapter 1. We're back up to 9 coins, which will boost up Townsfolk as well. We should probably get Saul out here quickly as well. Okay, Cat Witcher, that's not surprising. That is just about exactly what we expected to see, given that we saw these Doublethon entries, and this would have been the perfect card to go after with Gudrun, but that's obviously not going to happen. We could use Junior here to deal 6 damage. You are boosted, so that does work. And then it would drop you down perfectly into removal range for the fee ability there, and that'd be a decent way to spend just enough coins to get us back up to 6, and if we finish our turn with 6, that means we're going to get up to 9. So I think we do this. I do think we go this route and take you out. And so we can't use it, or we could technically use this, but in doing so we would drop below the 6 coin threshold at the end of our turn. So technically we have 1 more coin. We had 1 more coin than we absolutely needed, but since we could only spend in increments of 3, that wasn't really going to help us out. Alright, so you are also going to be a bit of an issue. Now, if we had a coin spender that we could get with Vivaldi Bank, then that could be a decent way to go about doing this. Or purify some stuff with Kalkstein. Might not be bad either to set ourselves up for a round 2 in which they just don't have much of any units hanging out on the board. So that's a little bit tempting. But I think what we'll do, at least for now, is we probably will add a coin generator here. And then if we play you, we can get 9 damage once we play this Treasure Huntress on. It'll end up being Sim Loss, which it was this Cat Witcher, but I don't really think there's any way around that being the case. And now we're up to 9, which means, once again, we can make more people coin generators or make you a double coin generator. So now we're just asking for them to do something to Townsfolk here. But we shall see. Actually, we might have been able to use one more and still get up to 6 coins. And by getting up to 6 coins, scenario guarantees we get up to 9 coins. I admittedly did not double check, because how much coin generation do we have now? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think we actually could have. Okay, that's more movements. And with double on the sentry, man, they just really nailed it with this, didn't they? That was like the perfect thing for them, because they absolutely had plenty of movements, and that's just tons of setup. So don't like to see that. And at this point, we could potentially... And we can destroy Sim Loss, but that doesn't really do much for us here. I think more likely we might even want to decoy on Junior and see what we get in his place, because his deploy ability was going to be the most valuable thing here. I mean, either that or perhaps instead we continue to load up on even more coin generation. Then we use Vivaldi Bank, and Bincy can be just absolutely ginormous because of how many of those coin generators we have now created. In fact, we might even be able to spend one more, but I need a minute to see how many coin generators we created, because we have 2 from you, 1 from you, so that's 3 coins every turn. 6 coins every turn. We can spend every single coin every turn, and with our scenario, we are guaranteed to get back up to maximum coins. So that's cool. That's pretty cool, and that means Saul is just a huge guaranteed point slam with the full horde ability triggering every turn. Purification. That's not terribly surprising. They use it on Matta. So this was the risk of us loading up on a ton of the infusions on one card, was it was going to make it an obvious purification target. That's why I was hesitant initially to do it on Townsfolk. That's why I didn't make it the primary recipient of all of them. On the other hand, wanted to give a card that had a fair number of points the recipient of those infusions. Otherwise, they could just destroy the card we were going after. So I think we will probably still look to go with Saul here. And at this point, we have how much coin generation remaining? 1, 2, 3... 3 coins at the end of every turn. So that means we can spend down to 3 and still be okay here. So why don't we turn Saul into a coin generator as well? And now it technically means that we would have been able to spend like 1 or 2 more coins there, but again, we can only spend in increments of 3. And technically speaking, this is a really technical detail here, but the reason why I've played everything until Saul to the left of In Search of Forgotten Treasures is because what we prefer to have happen is we get lots of little chunks of coin generation, because each individual chunk is what boosts up Townsfolk. But if we get like 1 coin generated on 3 separate occasions, that's ideal. If we get 3 coins in one burst, that's fewer boosts for Townsfolk. So you actually want to ideally put your coin generators to the left of your scenario. I put Saul to the right because this way we're guaranteed that the game... the reason for all this is because the game checks left to right in terms of the order of operations for all of your abilities. Let us turn more people into coin generators here, or more extreme coin generators. now I think we can probably spend everything, but we should, I think, swap you out. This will obviously give us way more coins. So we will lose these boosts in between rounds, but we will not lose the infusions, which means these cards will get boosted up very quickly, assuming they don't proceed to purify them. Okay, well, there's more purification they're going to go after Bincy. So yeah, she was obviously a humongous engine, and we did put not all of the boosting infusions, but a lot of the boosting infusions on her, of course. So now I think it's probably Snowdrop. And with Snowdrop, we will see what we can draw into here. And we have not been able to find much in the way of coin spenders outside of coin spenders that give us more coins. That's not a terrible thing, it's just that, as we've seen, the infusions are things that, with all this purification, they've been able to shut down. So having a Bare Knuckle Brawler that turns those coins into damage is a nice alternative. And the fence is a decent finisher, because boosts don't carry over, but Vitality does. So we'd actually deliberately not use the Tribute. But I think, nonetheless, we'll get rid of her. And now we can make Snowdrop a coin generator. And at this point, I also lost track of exactly how many coin generators we have. Okay, damage, which is enough to destroy one of our Huntresses. Deliberately did not make any of them a coin generator because they did not have a lot of power. So it was pretty clear that if they wanted to, they would be able to destroy one. But we still have one, which means we can still create more coin generators. So, I mean, how many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Obviously, we don't want to do it to anyone that no longer has resilience. So, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Is, when combined with In Search of Forgotten Treasures, basically enough, although, again, the ordering here was optimized for his Horde ability, not for his coin generation. So, we'd probably like to put someone else here. We are loaded up a bit in this range row. But, I guess. And we can go pretty crazy here. This gives us a precise coin spender. I think 2 coins was the right number for us. We got up to 9, so I'm not entirely sure if we could have gone and spent a little bit more, but what's their finisher? It's Torque. Whoa. So he was, of course, the way they were going to get all of their hand boosting. They have enough here. We are tied! 104 apiece. Oh, man. Okay, so the problem here is that they had a lot more cards with Brazilians than we did, because we would have liked to have seen Kalkstein to do some purification as another good way to spend some coins. We do have Junior drawing back into him. That is a way for us to damage or destroy a highly boosted card, or just any amount of boost, really. Doadrick in a long round is great when combined with Snowdrop, but I'm just not sure that's enough time. Task Collector definitely could do better. Kalkstein, too little too late. Needed him round 1. Flyndra's crew is good, but it's all perhaps just a matter of, well, the timing just didn't quite work out for us. And one more hit from the Bare Knuckle Brawler perhaps would have guaranteed we could have won round 1. And this would be a fundamentally different story. Because now they're obviously pushing all the way, and Gezras, imagine, with all their movement, they're going to have him at some point. Lots of stuff in their range row to use him to boost. Now, of course, fortunately, he is also a fantastic target for Junior to go after, so we will do just that. Because that's not enough to destroy him, but that is. And now we can do this and still wouldn't have enough coins for your ability unless and until we use Flyndra's crew. So technically I might wait for this. I mean, it doesn't make a huge difference. There's not a lot of time for this or this, really. And I probably should have checked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 coins generated per turn, which means we can basically spend all of our coins every turn. Okay, we lost one of our coin spenders. So it's all the damage and removal from here on out. And so I just don't really think there's any time to benefit from this, especially now that we don't have anything other than Saul this would affect, and we certainly are going to be fine reaching his 7 coin count. So let's go this route. Maximize the time we have for Doadrick, especially because we apparently don't have an agent. But now, we can spend basically just about every coin, or quite literally every coin if we use our leader ability here as well. Does that drop anything into removal range for Junior? It does not, unfortunately. And this is where, if we still had Bincy, we would be getting huge boosts here. So just her alone would have made a humongous difference in this round. So I think with all these, well, it's not a huge finisher for them. And those movement engines just didn't do that much because they were actually clogged in their range where they had too many units. Let's see what we get with Doadrick here. I mean, Fence is technically a point slam, and honestly might even be a better option than Flyndr's crew. Let's see. I think it is Fence. That's still better. I think it is actually still Fence. And we do pay the tribute. And I mean, I guess we're doing that. And we hold off on that last coin, so we get the coins back, and we win by 1 point. Oh my goodness. So there's a look at a Syndicate Tide Cloaks deck for the new Entrench seasonal event. If you liked the video, then make sure to hit the like and subscribe button and leave a comment down below to let me know which other cards, archetypes, and factions you'd like us to experiment with next. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.